welcome back. This is the third video in the series of how to create kind of a beginner level animated video. So this is a woodworking video, kind of a hobby that I have, and to render this to a .mp4 video format that can be used and shared in a lot of different formats, whether it be email marketing, social media, advertising like web ads. You can use this on your website. What I'm going to do is, with my video open and everything is completed in here, I go under File, Export, and I'm going to add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. You can also do this here, add to the Adobe Media Encoder queue. You have a quick key for it. I like to teach file export because that's how most graphic designers know how to change a file from one format to another, is to export it. So export, add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. When you do that, it will open up Adobe Media Encoder, and it'll take a little bit to transfer it in there. So be patient, but it will. I have it open here. It'll pop up in here. Just give it a little bit, and then we'll get the settings and render it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to click on composition. I had the wrong one selected. I had this Bensound Sunny. You want to select the composition that you have and then export. I had the wrong file selected. All right, so that should switch us over to Adobe Media Encoder. Give it a little bit of time. So what Adobe Media Encoder does is it puts it into a format that really like a software format, almost like a self-driving file. And it uses this thing called a codex. Means it allows it to code it and put it into the file, and then encode it, codex, like decode it at the end so that you can play it. We don't need to get too technical, and I'm certainly not an expert in that area of coding and decoding and stuff, but I know what it does, and I know what settings we need to use so it will work in all these different formats. So it might take you a little bit for Adobe Media Encoder to open up. I had it open, but I see I had an older version open, and it wants to use the 2020 version because I already had the 2020 version of After Effects open. And that is actually something important to remember. I've had some students that have had trouble trying to first they create their video in a version of After Effects, like say 2019, and then if their version of Media Encoder is older, they will get errors and can't render it. So use the same version or the same year of After Effects and Adobe Media Encoder to get this job done. I'm going to pause this, and then we'll come back as soon as this opens up. Okay, so that took a little while to open up, so I thought I'd just pause. Okay, so now we have Media Encoder opened up. You hide this, and open this up. This is a separate program, and the reason it's separate is sometimes rendering takes a long time for these videos, and then this works in a separate program, and you keep you and your boss happy because you can go back into After Effects and continue working on your projects while this renders. So a couple of things that I'm going to give you the kind of best generalized settings to be used in almost any different type of situation, whether it be in an email to put this video on a website, on social media, to upload it to YouTube, all of those things. So what you want to use is, and this sometimes is the default, the H.264, we want that, and that will make it a .mp4. We want to match source, the high bit rate here, and we're going to adjust this a little bit anyway, so it'll show custom, but we want to start with that. And then we'll click right here on the output file. What we're going to do is tell it where to output it, and we can name this. So I'm going to call this beginner animated video, and you can tell it where you want it to go. I'm just going to choose the desktop, and of course we want it to be an MP4 video files. So we will save that, and that will change it so we know where to find it. It's on the desktop. If you save it somewhere and you don't know where it went, just go search for the name of it, name of your composition. So now I'm going to click on this match source, and this is going to open up a second box that we can customize. These customized settings, I didn't invent them, just from doing a lot of different reading on different websites all over the place. And some people say to do it one way, some people say to do it another way, and I kind of found a nice happy medium that I think allows us to get a really good quality video that isn't a huge file, and that works well because then it streams quickly to someone's mobile device, and the quality is there if they're looking at it on a website or on a desktop or in an email or somewhere else. Okay, so now we get this export settings box, and what we can do primarily here is double check some of these things. I'm going to close this export settings, and we want to see the video right here. So we can double check that it is 1080 by 1080. Our frame rate is 30 frames. And as we come down here, I think I might have accidentally just touched that when I was trying to scroll, so we'll leave that at hardware. We want to render it at maximum depth. That'll give us the best quality. As we come down here, we want to find this bitrate setting. So the bitrate that is the streaming bitrate here. What works best here is your variable bitrate 2-pass. And then we're going to set this at 4. And there are some social media sites that tell you exactly what they prefer, but if you set this between 4 and 8, you're going to be just fine. And then the last thing you want is right down here, use maximum render quality. We'll set that up as well. So variable bitrate, what this does, again, we're trying to find the best balance or happy medium for your video to be not too big, so it still streams and delivers to a mobile device or to someone's email, or if you're going to use it in email marketing or on a website, and still have good quality. So there's always that balance. You can have perfect quality, but you might have a massive file. But if you want a smaller file, you might compromise quality a little bit, but these settings give you a really nice quality video. So the 2-pass here in variable bitrate, this basically means that it scans your video twice. And in the first pass, it looks at things like, say if there's a transition or if there's a spot where it's solid black in here, where it doesn't really matter what the quality of this black is, because you're not going to see an edge that's aliased or pixelated here. It will tell the video, okay, all of these different images can be in, the quality doesn't really matter as much. Then it will take a second pass and look through and say, well, when this transitions out to the carving video or something, it needs to have a little more quality in this area, so that it allots more quality in that area. So you have kind of the unimportant areas, not a lot of quality, more quality in the important areas, and that tends to give you that nice happy medium between low file size or a small file size to stream and quality in your video. Okay, so that's it for this. We really just set render at maximum depth, and we came in here and we told it to do a variable bitrate 2-pass, set the target at 4, the maximum at 8, and then we checked use maximum render quality. So we can click OK. And by the way, you can go through here and you can play through and see how things will look if you want to. See, it's 15 minutes long like we wanted. So I'm going to click OK. This will take us back into the main window here, and then all you have to do is come up here to the top right and click on the green arrow, and it will render your video. Down here you'll start to see a progress bar. This isn't that big, so it probably won't take too long. I'm just going to let it run so you can see how it goes. You can see it rendering it here. Well, it does show there's about a minute left here, so I'm going to pause my tutorial again, and I'll come back right when it's almost done. All right, it went really fast at the end, but it took about a minute or so, minute 16 seconds to render this. So it's wrapping up. It'll tell us there, and then it shows the green check mark that that's done. So I'm going to hide Media Encoder, and let's go to the desktop. I think I'm going to. Okay, so let's go to the desktop here. And we have all of the files. And if we look down here now, we have a folder right here. That is the woodworking video. I'm going to double click on this. And in here, you will see that I have oh, sorry, it rendered it right below it. I just didn't see it. My apologies. It's right down here. So I have, this is my beginner video, like I named it. If I click once on this and hit my space bar, has really nice quality. Music plays nicely. Transitions look nice and clean. And then it fades out at the end. One more time. And that is it. So I guess one last thing that you might want to do with this, just for fun, is if you have your own YouTube account, and you can create one, they're free. I have a YouTube account where I have all these tutorial videos out here. And once in YouTube, all you have to do is go to your sign in. You'll go up here under your image here and go to your channel. And, oops, what did I do there? And then click on the little camera up here, create a video or post, and you can just go to upload video. And we'll close this up a little bit here, and then I don't really need to learn more. So on here, I'll just simply take that beginner video, I will drag it over here and release it, and it will upload it for you. And as it uploads, you see it's a pretty small video. It's starting to process it. I actually think usually these are about, I don't know, 15 megabytes. Let's see how big this is. This is only 8.1 megabytes. So it's a pretty small file for a movie. So you can see it's an MP4, and it is uploading to my YouTube account. And then it simply asks you to title it. You'll get a link right here. Once it's uploaded, you'll get a link so you can embed it or link to this and put a description in here. In the description, this is where I do put photos from Pexels.com or Unsplash.com and videos from Pexels.com. And if I get my sound file, remember I got that from Bensound, I'll put sound from bensound.com to give that, attribute the music to them. You can make your own thumbnail images down here, or it generates some for you. And there's a couple other things you want to work on down here. A new law in 2020 makes you check if it's specifically made for kids or not. There's a bunch of other options down here you can go through and check. But really, that's it. Once this gets uploaded to YouTube, you can start sharing it with the world. And you can also take this video link, and that will help you to share it on your social media accounts directly from YouTube. And YouTube does all the hosting for your video and takes care of the streaming and the quality and the size when you put it up on social media. So I'm a big fan of just putting it up on YouTube. I think they give you a lot of free access. All of my tutorial videos for my classes are on YouTube. and I appreciate what they do for us. I know there's some advertising on there, but they also give us quite a bit for free. All right, thank you. That's the end of video 3, and once you're done with your video for my class and you've rendered it to an MP4, test it out, play through it, and then email me a copy of it. Thank you.